I want to start today with two numbers, and I want you to really, visualize the gap between them.
Okay.
Because it tells this massive story about the year we just lived through. It's a story about hype, reality, and the people getting caught in the gears.
Right.
So the first number is 4,000. That is roughly the number of job cuts in the U.S. that were officially attributed to artificial intelligence in 2023.
4,000. I mean, it's a statistic, sure.
Yeah.
But in an economy the size of the U.S., that's barely a rounding error.
It's nothing. You wouldn't even see it on a macro chart.
Negligible.
Exactly. Now let's look at 2024. That number didn't just double, it didn't triple, it skyrocketed to 55,000.
Wow.
A 13-fold increase in 1 year.
That's staggering. I mean, if you just looked at those headlines, you'd have to assume that in the span of 12 months, the technology just made some kind of quantum leap.
Right. You'd assume the robots finally arrived, walked into the cubicles, and just started doing the work better than the humans.
But that's the catch.
They haven't. And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into this phenomenon that's distorting the labor market. It's called AI washing. And we're basing this on a really sharp piece of analysis by Dr. Jonathan Westover. It's called AI washing and the phantom productivity paradox.
And the central argument Westover makes is, well, it's fascinating. He's saying a huge chunk of those 55,000 layoffs, they're not happening because AI is actually doing the job.
Oh, okay.
They're happening because companies need to say AI is doing the job.
It sounds a lot like greenwashing, doesn't it? The mechanism feels identical.
It's the exact same playbook. Think about it. With greenwashing, a massive oil company slaps a green leaf on its logo, right? And runs an ad about solar.
Even though 99% of their business is still drilling.
Exactly. They do it because customers want to buy sustainability. With AI washing, executives claim they're restructuring for an AI-driven future because that is what Wall Street wants to buy. It's a strategic misattribution.
So you take a really boring, painful decision like cutting costs because your margins are getting squeezed.
Or you just bloated your staff during the pandemic.
Right, and you dress it up in this sci-fi costume to make it look like innovation.
Precisely. If a CEO gets on an earnings call and says, we ran out of money, so we're firing people, the stock tanks. It signals failure.
Of course.
But if that same CEO says, we are pivoting to a digital-first automated workforce to capture the future, the stock goes up. One looks like a retreat, the other looks like a strategy.
And the market rewards the visionary, even if the reality on the ground is just absolute chaos.
Total chaos.
Let's get into the mechanics of that chaos, because the source material brings up this very specific structural problem. They call it the temporal mismatch.
That sounds like something from a movie.
It does, but in a corporate setting, it seems actually devastating.
Oh, it is. It's the core deception here.
Yeah.
Essentially, companies are firing people now based on the anticipated capabilities of AI in the future. There is this gap, often months, sometimes years, between when the human is escorted out of the building and when the AI is actually functional.
Westover gives this specific example that really drove it home for me. It was a multinational tech firm, unnamed, but a major player, that announced a 12% workforce reduction.
Early 2024, right?
Yeah, and the press release was just swimming in buzzwords, reallocating resources toward AI-driven initiatives, streamlining for the future, all that stuff.
It sounds very forward-thinking. It's what an investor wants to hear. It implies they have a secret weapon ready to go.
But then the internal reality leaked out about 6 months later, and what did they find?
Let me guess. The AI wasn't ready.
It was basically vaporware, still in pilot phases. Buggy. It wasn't integrated into the workflow at all.
And that's where you get the phantom productivity. You've removed the human productivity, the people actually doing the work.
Yeah.
You expect the AI productivity to fill that void immediately, but it can't.
So you're left with this phantom gap where work just stops.
Or, more likely, it gets dumped on the survivors.
Exactly.
So the people who didn't get fired are now doing their job, plus the job of the person who left, plus they're wrestling with some beta version AI tool that doesn't even work.
And in that specific case, the firm had to quietly lower their productivity targets in the next quarter. So the efficiency move actually made them less efficient.
It's a classic case of counting your chickens before the eggs have even been laid. Or, firing the farmer before the automated egg-collecting robot has been invented.
So if the outcome is lower productivity and burned out staff, why do it? Are CEOs just that disconnected, or is something else going on?
I think it's a mix of ignorance and just intense pressure. Westover uses a term that I think is crucial here. It's called mimetic isomorphism.
I practiced saying that 3 times in the mirror this morning. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Break that down for us. What does it actually mean?
It's essentially sophisticated peer pressure. In organizational psychology, it describes what happens when organizations are, uncertain about the future. When the market's volatile, tech is changing fast. You don't know the right move.
Yeah.
You just stop thinking for yourself, and you copy what the successful kids are doing.
So if Google or Meta says, we're cutting jobs to pivot to AI, every other CEO looks at their board and says, uh-oh, we better do that too.
Exactly. It creates a cascade.
Yeah.
Even if your company is profitable, even if your AI strategy is half-baked, you feel this immense pressure to signal agility.
You have to look like you're keeping up.
You have to show investors that you are AI ready. If you don't cut heads, you look bloated and old-fashioned. If you do cut heads and say AI, you look disciplined and futuristic.
It's corporate FOMO, fear of missing out.
It is. And we saw this play out with Amazon. The source highlights this beautifully. Initially, the communications about their cuts were all about AI efficiencies.
Right. It fit the narrative perfectly.
But then, over time, the story shifted. Suddenly, it was about reducing bureaucracy and flattening the structure.
Which is just code for we wanted to save money.
Right. The AI narrative was the initial cover because it's palatable, it's exciting, we're broke, or we overhired is not exciting, we're automating is sexy.
Okay, so we've established they're stretching the truth about why they're firing people. But I want to talk about what happens after the firing. Because this phantom productivity paradox, it sounds like it destroys the organizational brain.
Yeah. This is the part that keeps organizational psychologists up at night.
Why?
When you fire a human, you aren't just firing a pair of hands. You are firing institutional memory. You are firing tacit knowledge.
Tacit knowledge. Differentiate that for me. That's different from what's in the training manual.
Oh, completely different. Explicit knowledge is what's written down, the handbook, the SOPs. Tacit knowledge is the feel of the job.
The unwritten rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's knowing that client A gets grumpy if you email them before 10 a.m. It's knowing that the legacy code from 2015 breaks if you look at it the wrong way, and knowing exactly which weird workaround fixes it.
It's the stuff you can't really explain. You just know it from doing the job for 5 years.
Exactly. An LLM, a large language model, doesn't know that. Right. An algorithm cannot navigate the complex, unwritten social web of a company. When you fire the person who holds that knowledge, it is gone forever.
The notes had a great example from the tech sector. Companies were firing senior engineers because they thought, hey, we have AI coding assistants now.
We could just hire cheap junior developers, give them the AI, and they'll be just as good.
Which is a fundamental misunderstanding of what a senior engineer even does.
It is. The AI can write lines of code. It can generate syntax perfectly, but it cannot do system-level architectural judgment. It doesn't know why the system was built that way.
So what happened?
You had junior staff armed with AI just generating mountains of code.
More code means more productivity, right? Isn't that the metric?
In this case, no. They generated more lines of code, sure, but the code didn't integrate. It was bloated. It was insecure. It didn't account for how module A talks to module B.
So you just get more noise, less signal.
And you get product delays. The paradox is that by trying to get faster with AI, they actually slowed down the entire product lifecycle because they got rid of the humans who understood how the whole machine worked.
And what about the people left behind? The survivors? I mean, the vibe in the office can't be great.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
And this leads to another layer of the paradox, innovation stagnation. The logic from the C-suite is we are cutting people to fund AI innovation.
Yeah, sure.
But the reality is, if you signal to your workforce that AI equals firing, you have just incentivized your entire staff to hate AI.
Right. Why would I help train the robot if I know the robot is coming for my desk?
Exactly. You destroy psychological safety. If an employee finds a bug in the AI tool, are they going to report it? No.
No way.
They're going to hide the problem or work double time to cover it up manually because they want to prove the human is still necessary.
They enter survival mode.
You stop experimenting. You stop taking risks. The source actually mentions that after these kinds of restructurings, patent filings, and R&D intensity just drop significantly.
So you're killing the very innovation you claim to be supporting. That is wildly counterproductive.
It's a self-inflicted wound. And it stems from viewing employees as costs to be minimized, not assets to be leveraged.
I want to pivot to the human side of this, because getting laid off sucks, period. We know that. But Westover argues that being replaced by a machine, that hits differently.
It does. It triggers a profound identity crisis.
Mm.
When you lose your job because the economy is bad, you can blame the market. You can say, it's not me, it's the recession.
It's external.
Right.
Right.
But when you are told, we don't need you because this software can do your job, it invalidates your entire skill set. It tells you your years of experience, your craft, is now obsolete.
The source mentions this leads to higher rates of depression and anxiety compared to normal layoffs.
Significantly higher. And there's this information asymmetry here that is just cruel. Workers are told to reskill, just learn how to use AI, adapt or die.
We hear that all the time.
But because companies are AI washing, because they're lying about what the AI can actually do, workers don't know what to study.
That's a really interesting point. If my company says AI can do creative writing now, I might stop practicing writing. But if that's a lie, I've just abandoned a valuable skill for no reason.
Or you rush to get a certification in prompt engineering, investing thousands of dollars, only to find out the company isn't actually using it, or the tool has already changed so much your certificate is worthless.
You're navigating a career map where the landmarks are fake.
It's a sense of helplessness. It feels like gaslighting on an industrial scale.
You're being told the sky is green, and if you can't see it, you're the problem.
That's a very apt description.
Okay, this is pretty bleak. We've got lying executives, broken software, depressed workers. But the source material does offer a way out, right?
It does. It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
There are companies getting this right.
And what's the difference?
The mindset. The successful companies frame AI as complementarity, helping humans, not substitution, replacing humans.
Let's talk about Siemens. They're highlighted as a huge success story. What did they do differently?
Well, they're a massive industrial giant. They have cost pressures, too.
Yeah.
But Siemens launched a digital academy. Instead of firing people, they chose to upskill over 500,000 employees.
500,000 people. That is a serious investment.
It's a strategic overhaul.
Yeah.
And look at the result. They moved their workforce from reactive maintenance, which is basically waiting for a machine to break and then fixing it,
Right.
to proactive optimization.
Okay, break that down. How does the day-to-day change for a worker?
So before a technician waits for a turbine to start rattling, then they shut it down and fix it. Lots of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
After the training, that same technician uses AI analysis to see the turbine is about to rattle in 3 days. They adjust the parameters now, preventing the break. The machine never stops running.
So a job didn't disappear. It evolved. The human is still there, but doing higher value work.
Exactly. And because they invested in their people, uptime went up, engagement went up,
Yeah.
and they didn't lose that institutional memory. They kept the people who know how the factory hums and gave them superpowers.
That sounds so much smarter. What about Unilever? They used AI in recruiting, which can be a really sensitive area.
It is. We know automated recruiting tools can have major issues, but Unilever's crucial move was governance. They kept human review processes running parallel to the AI.
They didn't just turn it on and walk away.
No. They didn't just fire all the recruiters to save on HR salaries, and they found issues, right? The AI showed operational flaws.
What kind of flaws?
It wasn't selecting candidates effectively in certain demographics. Now, an AI washing company would have just let the flawed tool run wild. Unilever fixed the tool. They kept humans in the loop to correct the algorithm.
That seems to be the theme here, human in the loop.
Yes. Microsoft and GitHub did something similar with Copilot. They were transparent. They marketed it as a pair programmer.
Not a replacement programmer.
That distinction is vital. They shared detailed metrics on what the tool could do, but more importantly, what it could not do. That honesty builds trust.
Which is key. If you tell a developer, this tool handles the boring boilerplate code so you can focus on the complex logic, they say, great, sign me up.
Right. But if you tell them, this tool writes code so you're fired, they say, I'm going to sabotage this, or I'm quitting. Microsoft understood that adoption depends on trust.
So if I'm a leader listening to this, what is the prescription? How do we stop the washing and actually get the value?
Westover outlines 3 pillars. First is transparency. Be honest. If you're cutting jobs for financial reasons, don't blame a bot that isn't ready. Own the decision.
Just tell the truth. Sounds simple.
Second is procedural justice. Involve employees in designing the AI workflow. The person doing the job knows the job better than the developer building the AI.
Ask the human how the tool should help them.
Design it with them, not for them. And third is governance. You need review boards. And not just tech leaders. You need HR, operations, and actual employees on these boards to approve deployments. You need a stop button.
It all comes back to that phantom productivity paradox. You can't harvest the fruit before the tree has grown.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We are in a transition phase. And the mistake is acting like we're at the destination. We aren't. We're on the journey, and you need human guides.
So the verdict is, cutting heads to appear innovative is a losing strategy. It sounds good on an earnings call, but it rots the company from the inside out.
It destroys the very human capital you need to make the AI work. The companies that win in the next 10 years will be the ones with the smartest, most empowered employees who know how to dance with the algorithms.
I love that image, dancing with the algorithms, not being stepped on by them.
Exactly.
We've covered a lot. But before we go, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
The next time you see a headline about an AI transformation or you hear rumors at your own company, ask yourself this. Is this strategy designed to empower you, to help you do things you couldn't do before? Or is it a narrative designed to please a shareholder who will never have to use the software? Because the difference between those two things isn't just semantics. The difference is whether the AI is actually ready to do the work.
And if the AI isn't ready and the humans are gone,
yeah,
who's driving the bus?
That is the question. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.